or you've been drumming for a long time?
Since I was 16, started on a rock band.
That's what got you into it?
Yeah, we definitely weren't for children either. They were just Girls Gone Wild commercials all night long. I'd wake up at like 2 a.m. in like 6th grade and there was Girls Gone Wild trailers on the TV.
I think everyone's fear is, what if I start this, what if I try to go out and start this business? I choose this person I find on YouTube because I think they're good. I spend $600 and then it's not it.
I've been burned. And I'm like, well, let me just buy the coursework. And it was like $1,600.
Wow.
And the coursework was horrible. Yeah, I got in there and I was like, dude, I've been had.
Cheers,
successful 2023.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'll talk about whatever. My life's all kinds of crazy.
Because you have an Android.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just subscribe already. Well, you ready, Casey?
Yeah,
Casey, thank you so much for coming out on the podcast today.
no problem.
I actually, well, I had reached out to you and I was like, hey man, you should come on the podcast. You're like, all right, I'm down. And we scheduled it for Monday. And then I had a cancellation for another podcast today and we were just chatting. I was like, hey, you want to come on today? And you're like, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, pretty open during the weekdays. So
Yeah, because, so Casey here, if you guys don't know Casey Erhart, he has a videography company and it's Erhart Productions, right?
yep.
It's the name of it. How long have you been doing it?
So we started, I filmed my first wedding in, I believe, June of 2021.
So you've been, it's 2021.
Yeah, not very long.
No,
I mean, it's been a couple years.
it's 23.
Yeah.
So you're
It's been a
going
couple
June?
years. Yeah,
So you're going on 2 years?
yes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Most businesses don't make it a year.
Well, we're going on 2 with hopefully many more to come.
Well, you've been doing pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Because the big difference between you and a lot of other, is it considered an art?
I definitely think so.
Photography and videography, what's it considered?
Well, it's definitely art. It's a creative art. I would say that one of the best things, one of the best things about this is I actually made a post yesterday, if you saw it, about me going back and doing a review of my 2022 weddings. And one of the worst things about being a creative and stuff is whenever you're finished with the work, you've been working on it for so long that when you're watching it back, you've seen it for the 100th time in a row.
Yeah.
And you can never see it for the first time.
Yeah.
And so doing that review of last year's weddings turned out to be like a blessing yesterday, because I was sitting in my house and I was like, all right, it's time to go over these things to kind of see what the next level up was, like what's going to make these better for 2023 when my wedding season starts. And now looking back, very, very proud of the work. Some of the shots I forgot that I had gotten, I'm seeing in the clips and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely an art. And
Is it like seeing them again for almost like the first time?
in a way, it felt like it. Obviously, I know what's coming up because like your memory starts kicking in. Like, oh, I remember this now. Mm-hmm. But it was cool to see some of the shots and to take a minute to be proud of the work that came out of the last year or so. So
I feel like whenever I make content, whether it's for YouTube or TikTok or whatever, I edit a lot of it as well. And yeah, like you said, you're going over it over and over and mm-hmm. over, and you're adjusting audio, you're adjusting the color on the video, you're adjusting all kinds of things, cutting stuff out. At least I'm cutting stuff out. So yeah, I'll watch, whether it's a minute video or a 20-minute video or an hour and a half video, I'm watching it. I couldn't even tell you how many times.
yeah.
And so by the time I'm done with it, I'm not even, I just can't, like you said, you don't get that first reaction anymore. And so I have to just try to like remember, I have to just try to make sure I remember, like, is it clean? That's what I try to look for. Does it at least look clean? Maybe I might not get that. I might not be able to get that reaction like someone watching it for the first time is getting. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, is it clean? Does it sound good? Does it look good? Is it smooth? That's the kind of stuff I look for.
Yeah. So me and Whitney actually, Whitney's my wife, and she goes out and shoots with me. We actually do a review process of every film once it's done. So I do all the editing, but once the editing's done, we'll sit down on the couch, put it on the big screen, and be like, all right, we each have a notepad, and it's like, let's write down the things that we see that we don't like, we do like. And like you said, by the time it's done, like I'm delivering it to the bride, and in my head, I'm scratching my head going, is this good?
Yeah.
Is this really good? And then of course they love it. Like, me, it's just me being my own worst critic at the time.
Your stuff is really good, Casey.
Thanks.
You have an eye for it.
Thanks.
I wish I had the eye, because I love creating content, but I'm just not good. Like, that's not where that's not where I'm good at. Like that's an area that I lack so bad. And I wish I had a videographer that I could pay full time, follow me around, do content with me, stuff like that. Cause I would love to get in vlogging. Like that's something, I don't just like podcasts. I like content. I like making content. That's fun to me. Like I don't want to just do video games. I don't want to just do podcasts. I want to be able to make all kinds of content. And vlogging is one that seems really fun, but it's so hard to do because I know nothing about B-roll. I know nothing about, I know what B-roll is, but I can't think of it. Like whenever I'm doing stuff, I can't think about like, oh, this would be good for in between scenes. You know, like for transitions, this would be a good B-roll scene for it. And you've got an eye for it.
Yeah. So,
is that natural or how did that come about?
I suppose I do. It's starting to become more clear to me that might be the case, you know, like, because it's hard to tell yourself that, you know, oh, I must have like this thing that other people don't. Cause in a way, I don't believe that's true, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I guess I've been seeing it more and more that like maybe that is the case. But like you said, like B-roll, like when we're out on a wedding day, there's just so many. My brain's reeling when I'm on the wedding day, and I'm getting the shots that I need, and then I'll just see things, and I'm like, oh, that'd be sweet if I went and got that shot real quick, and we'll get it, and that turns into my B-roll. Typically, you know, like.
But your brain thinks about it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at. My brain doesn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Not until I'm sitting down and I'm like, oh, you know what? That would have been cool. See, my brain is
I still
way
get that
too
sometimes
far. Really?
where I'm like, man, I really missed it there.
Yeah.
But no, and it's kind of the same thing. I don't know if you see this with editing. This is one of my favorite things about editing, and it's happy accidents. So like when you're sitting down editing and like I put in music, and I haven't even synced up the clips with the music yet because that's so important, you know, is like match in the wedding films and stuff. It's like matching the emotion with what's happening in the song, which I contribute being a musician to helping with that, I think. But like happy accidents in editing, like you'll put all the clips over the music, haven't edited them yet, and you'll click play and watch it back, and all of a sudden all these clips are just falling on the beats. Mm-hmm. And like pieces are where you would have put them already automatically. And so like it is funny how much of editing turns into happy accidents. Like I'll tell Winnie, I'm like, I didn't even plan that part. Like that just happened. Like,
yeah. I remember when that used to happen. It doesn't happen much anymore because I'm like banking on it. I'm like, please line up.
Oh yeah. You can't bank on it.
I'm just like, please line up, because sometimes I don't even know like what audio to throw with it. Like if I'm
hardest part.
Sometimes it's so hard for me to figure out like what audio am I going to need this time. And especially when you're starting out, you're trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And so you might try something and you might like it and it might work, but you might think, since it didn't get, like for me at least for content, it doesn't get much traction because I don't have much traction yet.
Yeah. And
so I'm like, did it work? I don't want to try something else just to mix it up, see if it gets more traction. And I'm just trying new things out all the time just to see what I can, you know, grab and take off a little bit with. But yeah, it's such a weird thing, and it really messes with my mind a lot.
Yeah, no, audio is the hardest part. There's been times where for wedding films, because I subscribe to a few different like you know, music sites and stuff like MusicBed, Soundstripe.
Is this copyright free music? Is that what it's considered?
It's like licensing music. So you pay for MusicBed monthly or yearly, and they guarantee you that they have just great music on there. So the more you pay for these services, usually the better music you get. Like MusicBed is a very expensive program.
What's very expensive, Casey?
So MusicBed costs me $90 a month. So by the end of a year,
$90 a month?
Yeah, that's how much I pay for it. So, and then I also pay $15 for Soundstripe. So if I'm going into like look for music for a wedding video, after having both for like months, I've started realizing I haven't used Soundstripe in forever. Mm-hmm. So I could just tell there that even though I was paying $90 as opposed to $15, every single one of my films was benefiting from the $90 one. Yeah. And so I dropped the $15 one, and so far MusicBed's been great. But that is the hardest part. You get down to having all the footage sifted through, which takes forever. And you're sitting there and you're like, okay, so what music goes along with this couple? Because that's a big part of it. Like, I'm not going to use hip hop for people who loved country music, you know, like it. So their consideration has to go into it. And you also have to find the right music based on how much audio I have. So if my brides and groom weren't talking much during the day, if they didn't have vows, if they didn't have first looks where stuff was being said, if they didn't read letters, then I'm relying on the attention in the video, finding a song that words kind of fit their day. So finding a song with lyrics. And if I have great audio from the day where they had these amazing vowels and all that stuff, then I can just go for instrumental and find emotion there. But yeah, sometimes, like you said, trying to find things that work and don't work. Like there's been times where I'm like, man, I think I can choose a badass song for this wedding just because the couple was upbeat and energetic. I think Annie Jet's wedding, I had used a song in the second half called "Get Down with Ya Boom Boom," and I was like, I had this song banked forever because I in my head I saw it. I was like, this would make for a badass wedding edit.
Yeah.
And I sat on it for like 8 wedding films, and I got to Annie's reception, and I was like, I'm gonna use it. And I messaged her and asked for permission to go wild with the edit.
Yeah.
And I said I want to do something off the wall, and I think it's gonna be great. And that one turned out to be one of my favorites. It like
Cool.
Yeah, I love it when you can do like off the wall things that are way different from the typical.
Yeah, because that is a lot of fun to be able to do stuff like that. Now, do you talk when you're talking to these people before a wedding, the bride and groom? Do you run these ideas by them all, or like are they like this is kind of how I want to look?
Yes.
Like whenever someone's coming to you for this stuff, how's the whole process go?
So far, it seems like people just kind of trust my creative process.
Yep.
Which I love. I always give people the opportunity to tell me what they want. Like I'm like, hey, throughout, because we have a long time from when they book me to the time they film their wedding. A lot of time where I won't even talk to them. I'll check in on them a couple times of the year, but a lot of times it's like the real planning starts a month before their wedding. So what I'll message them is I'll be like, hey, we're all scrolling through reels and shorts and stuff like that. I'm like, if you see something out of a wedding film, because they're going to be targeted with it, they're wedding planning. Their whole feed's going to be wedding stuff.
Yep.
And I said, if you find something that you see that I don't do that you're like, I have to have that for my wedding, or a style like that, I said, hit me up, because that's only going to broaden what I can do. This is something I've never done.
Before the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking like maybe like something.
Consultations.
Yeah. So like some type of.
Before they even buy. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
do they buy when they book you? Do they buy it? Like if say I'm getting married next year, I'm like, Casey, I want you to be the videographer at my wedding.
Yeah.
Do they pay in advance, or do they pay at the wedding, or do they pay after the wedding, or how's that work? Or
no, so someone reaches out to me, and basically I require for 2024 now, I'm requiring video consultations. We get on a Zoom call together to get to know each other face to face. That was not easy for me, being face to face with couples, because it's way out of my comfort zone talking to people. And
was it easier that was on a Zoom?
It was hard at first. I had a mentor tell me, he's like, hey, you got to talk to people. Like, as your product, grows and stuff, the more if you want to sell, people have to know you. Like they're giving you money. They need to know you face to face. They're going to spend their wedding day with you, things like that. Like, it needs to be a personal connection. But yeah, so we'll get on a call together, and I basically, during the consultation, I go over the entire wedding day. I stress the importance of audio, because not only am I trying to make their wedding video the best as possible, I'm also trying to make my job easier in the editing room to give them that video. Because like if I can talk them into having personal vows or letter reads or those important moments, like I stress that to them, just like the importance of like what I do and what makes my videos what they are. And I'll never tell anybody you can't do that, or like we do what the bride and groom want.
It's their wedding at the end of the day; they're paying for it.
Yeah. But I will always offer guidance and stuff like that. But then from there we talk for a while, and we go over what they're imagining their days like, because they don't have exact specifics yet. But we go over like what their ideal day would be like, and we go over some of my films while we're on the call, and we're like, hey, is this the style you're looking for? Like length of film, how many hours am I going to be there and stuff? And I kind of describe, it's basically just like wedding filmmaking 101 on the consultations, and then we build a custom package and we come to agreements and stuff, and that's where contracts get signed. And we normally do deposits of $500, and then the rest.
That makes sense.
Yeah, deposits of $500 to hold the date, and then the rest is split up into 2 or 4 payments, as long as it's paid off a month before their wedding date. That's the way we run it. So
it's got to be paid off before it.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you can run a business like this and ask for money after. It would be tough. It'd be because it puts you in bad positions. Like,
definitely does.
You never want to be in that position where like, hey, I need my money. Like that's not a position I ever want to be in, as a,
Yeah, you got to have that stuff paid in for in advance, because it's a very expensive part of someone's life. It's probably one of the more expensive things they'll probably ever do in their life, outside of buying a car and buying a house.
I agree.
It's people spend a lot of money on it. I think, do you know what the average wedding costs nowadays? Do you remember?
I can tell you in my filmmaking group, there's some guys in New York City. I don't know what it is for Missouri, but if you're getting married if you're getting married in New York City, like in the city, the typical wedding budget, the average wedding budget is 70 grand.
That's insane.
It's no joke. I mean, you're talking reception, feeding all your guests, your ceremony, your venue. I mean, you know how much an apartment is in New York City. Like.
Yeah. So, I mean, New York's expensive.
Yeah.
So New York's a little different. This on Google.
I would assume it's like 25 grand for Missouri.
Well, I just did all of the United States.
Okay.
Literally Googled average cost of a wedding. And NerdWallet here says that the average cost of a wedding in 2022 was $30,000, including the ceremony and reception, which I feel like that's pretty average. No,
I said, I figured like 25.
Yeah, but I also heard that it's supposed to be a year's salary or like half of a year's salary or something like that. I remember hearing it on the radio one time. I'm like, oh my gosh, for a wedding. Yeah. But it is a very important day. But gotta make sure she's the one.
Yeah. No,
you can't have too many of them.
Yeah, we haven't. Erhart Productions has not had any divorces yet on our wedding. Maybe it's the videos keeping people together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we can go with that. Whenever you do these, when you do the videography, though, and you said the audio is very important, do you have them mic'd up? Or how's the audio?
Oh yeah,
you have them mic'd up.
Yeah. So we have something called Tascam DRL10s. I don't know if you've seen those before. They're lavalier mics. And yeah, so basically it goes inside the groom's jacket or the officiant's jacket. We even have a white one for brides that we've never used. But if a bride wants to be mic'd, they have that option. And there's like a leg strap that goes on that the receiver holds in.
Cool. How does it pick up their voice though? Is there a mic attached to it?
Yeah, so the little wire comes out of the receiver, and for a bride, it will be mounted to the inside of the dress, like in the middle of the chest, and it'll just pick straight up. You don't want any fabric rubbing or anything. And for the guys, you just pin it right by the right on the lapel, right behind the flower.
That makes sense.
And
it's a lot easier for a guy to hide it.
Yes, and so typically what we do is, like I said, we've never used the bride's mic because typically those mics are good enough that the groom and bride standing across from each other, it gets her voice good too. And if it doesn't, the officiant's always wearing the same thing the groom's wearing, so he's a little closer to the bride. So I've never had a problem getting bride audio. And I also, during the ceremony, I also set up a wireless Zoom recorder, I think. Yeah, Zoom recorder next to the DJ's speaker, or I plug it into the DJ's board. So there's always backup systems in place too.
And that's just for audio?
That's just for audio, yeah. So yeah, ceremonies are wild. That stuff is.
Yeah, I would say so.
That stuff's.
There's a lot of setup to it. Mm-hmm. Do you set up all that same day?
Yeah. So everything's done on the fly. Typically, all of our collections and packages come with a second shooter. Like I bring a helper. Typically that's Whitney. But she is in the military, so I can never guarantee that Whitney's going to be my second shooter, but I always do bring somebody. Trevor has shot a wedding with me before. I've got Sawyer Wright shooting a wedding with me. Sawyer Wright's talking about getting into wedding filmmaking down in Springfield, and he's been shooting weddings on his own, so he's going to come up and kind of shadow and help me.
Cool.
And, but yeah, so my second shooter is typically the person that handles like all that setup while I'm still getting shots of them getting ready for their ceremony. They're out there getting the tripods ready. And then typically I'll come out and check the settings and make sure they have them where I want them. And because their job is to make sure that if that bride and groom leave to go do something like lighting candles or something, they come back, that they're in the same spot and my focus hasn't left. So that way my footage is useful the whole way through, because I've done it by myself to where I run the 2 tripods, the audio and my camera getting shots. And I always come out with a good enough quality product, but I do have to chop it up a lot more because there are times where it'll grab, if I have autofocus on in that instance, because I can't run it, it'll grab the maid of honor's face for half the reception. And then my bride's blurry. Yeah. So having a second shooter helps a lot with all that setup.
Do you think you'll get to the point where you have a second shooter at all times?
Right now I offer it at all times anyway. I have had a couple.
Well, like brides, I'm saying, like a designated one.
Oh,
like
so
you have someone locked in.
Well, if it wasn't for military, it'd be Whitney. I mean, just because like we're like a power team on a wedding day. So Whitney's got. She learned through the military, so she learned very interview style videography. So she's very like true to eye interview as opposed to Weddings are more creative, and there's a lot more creative shots that go into it. Because you're going for creative. You're not going for like newscast But her knowledge of that works a lot into what I do as well. Like Whitney will be like, "Hey, I'm seeing this, and I don't think this is right." And so we're bouncing stuff off each other, and she's like the perfect second shooter to have.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot easier to work with her too.
Oh yeah, we have a blast. Because wedding days we're typically dedicating. Typically, a wedding day is 8 hours from us, but we do have brides every now and then purchase 10-hour packages and stuff like that. And if we're shooting in like Palmyra, Missouri, like last year, me and Trevor were scheduled for a 10-hour day, and it was a 2.5-hour drive there. So we're looking at like a 15-hour day.
Yeah.
And so.
And you don't charge for that, do you? Or do you?
No, well, it depends. If 2.5 hours, I don't. I think that's probably my max. And then. Because at some point, if it's a 10-hour day and I've got a 4-hour drive, I got to have somewhere to stay. I mean, I could probably come home that night, but it's going to be safer for your footage if I'm not driving home after that long day. Sure.
So if someone's requesting you to drive over a certain mileage, basically.
Yeah, it would probably just be cost of like a night in a hotel or something like that. Sure. We haven't even had to charge anybody for travel, and it would be a very easy process. It would just be a conversation. But yeah, 2.5 hours is probably where I draw the line with.
That's even 2 hours is.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, because I think down to Springfield, Missouri is about 2 hours from here, and after you get done driving out, you're freaking.
Oh yeah.
Tired.
Yeah, and if you're shooting for 10 hours, not only are you on your feet all day, and that gimbal doesn't weigh a lot. The gimbal I use, it's two-handed.
So
it doesn't weigh a lot. It does weigh like 10.
I bought a gimbal. No clue how to use it.
Okay.
I have no clue how to use it.
What gimbal did you buy? Is it for a phone or for a camera?
It's for a phone. DJI.
Okay.
DJI.
Tyler has one, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's been learning how to use it for
what
TV
brand
studio.
is it, though?
It's a DJI.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I use as well. I just use one of the ones that's built for a big mirrorless camera.
It was because of everybody's talk using it, and they clearly make some better video, but I bought one and I have no clue how to use it. So I need someone. I should have brought it on so you could kind of. I have literally no clue. Like
that one's awesome.
Mine's just flopping around. I don't even know what it's doing.
So that one's awesome because Tyler showed me it directly integrates with your phone, which means it also runs through an app. Like as opposed to the ones I use, they just run into the camera and they stabilize my camera, and they have a couple buttons on the handle that I can assign to like record, or the more advanced ones have a couple dials that you can assign to like ISO or aperture or different settings on the camera. Yeah. Well, the one Tyler has, which is probably the one you have, integrates with the app. So on your phone screen, you're seeing it. You can do all the stuff a phone can do. So you can like draw a square around somebody and you can sit the gimbal on a table, and you can draw a square around yourself on the screen, and then you walk around the room and that thing will follow you around the room. Like it will spin and rotate and like watch you walk around the room. So you could do like a guitar cover, and the whole time your phone's just going to be level, smoothly following you around the room.
How awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it's awesome for a phone.
I knew it could do stuff like that, but I don't know how to. I guess I gotta get Tyler out here to show me.
You can do all kinds of stuff. Like mine, you can actually Bluetooth hook up like an Xbox controller to my gimbal. I don't know what you'd need that for, but if you sat on a table, like I can use the joysticks on my Xbox controller to move my camera around.
That's so crazy. It doesn't seem like it'd be that smart.
Oh yeah, they're crazy.
It does. Mine does have like a little a twist wheel on it and like a record button, and it has a little screen on it.
Yeah, that's the same one Tyler's got.
Okay, cool. So he's gonna know it. He's gonna be.
Is it white?
No, it's gray.
I think he had white or gray. I'm not sure, but yeah, it should be the same one.
I just remember looking into them because everybody was using them. I'm trying to up the game a little bit, upgrade mics, mixing systems, cameras, everything. And I bought one of these just to help out with content. And yeah, I didn't even know what I was looking for when I bought it. I was like, well, I don't want to buy a cheap one. And so I just looked for one that was like highly rated, had a lot of reviews, 5 stars, and wasn't cheap.
And I think a lot of times gimbals are just more like depends on what kind of creative shoot you're going for. Because there's a lot of wedding filmmakers who actually just shoot handheld, and they just use in-body stabilization on their camera, and it ends up giving off a completely different feel. Like I have a bride in July in St. Louis who wants to do a more candid style. Like their photographer's not going to be posing them. And I'm like, what does that look like? And so now I'm like researching these dudes who shoot handheld, because when I think candid, I'm thinking,
When you're saying handheld, what do you mean?
like they're just holding the camera, their video camera in their hand all day. Like they're just like
Walking around.
no stabilization. So that means your body becomes a stabilizer, which means there's certain things you need to do. Like some people will put a neck strap on and extend it all the way to its max, and that helps hold the camera still.
Yeah.
Or some people will do the camera to chest thing, you know, just to try to use their body as a stabilizer.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be extremely hard.
It would be hard. And it also depends on how nice your camera is. Really expensive cameras have great in-body stabilization. Just like the new iPhone 14 Pros or whatever. Like those things, Tyler, like like when he records stuff on that thing, his new iPhone, like it's so smooth, and it like cuts it like once you hit record at the end, it will basically crop it down and get rid of that shake.
Oh,
and
cool.
It's incredible. So
See, that's why I'm an Android guy, and that's why I bought the S22, the Galaxy S22 Ultra, because I just Googled what phone has the best camera on it.
Yeah.
And that's the one that came out, and I did find out like some ways to like up the video quality and stuff like that. So, but that area, just the technology, learning it all is so hard.
Yeah.
It's such a massive thing they have to learn, and always, because they're always upgrading it and changing things, and you got to stay on it.
yeah, it's crazy to think like the cameras, like if for people who are walking around with phones like yours or like the iPhone 14, like what kind of quality camera you actually have in your pocket. I will debate all day that like, because people will come to me a lot and be like, why my phone looks that good? I'm like, well, no, it doesn't. And you know, and I can see why. I don't know if other people can, but like I can see like my head can instantly pick out that fake background blur that an iPhone gives off, as opposed to what a camera's depth of field actually gives. I can instantly, like, I can see a clip and I'm like, that's shot on a phone. Like it doesn't fool me yet. I say we're a few years out from like that just being that being insane.
Yeah, and see, like that's what's cool about that too, because you have so much experience with it. You know how to tell that difference.
Yeah.
Whereas like my eyes don't even know how to see it, and so that's probably most of the people that are watching any type of content, they probably don't know it either. But there's just like a natural, like you can just naturally tell like a difference in quality.
Yeah.
Like that's where like the little things start to really add up.
Yeah, and that's why I always tell people, because people will bring that argument up to me a lot with the iPhone cameras and stuff. And I would just tell them like, well, those are small things that like I notice, like that background blur I'm mentioning, like that's a small thing, but all those small things add up to that final product that I produce that you would not get from a phone. Like you say you could, and yes, there are people that make wedding films on iPhones that are starting out, because you don't have money for gear. That's what you use.
Right.
Use what you have available. But all those things do add up to this end product that if you show them back to like next to each other, there is a difference.
Right. Whenever I'm making content and I'm putting it on my computer and editing it and doing all the stuff with it, I'm playing it back, and I know it's not good enough. Like I can tell that there's something off with it, but I'm not educated enough with the cameras, with the editing software to figure out what it is. Not even that, I don't even know how to edit the problem that's wrong. I can't even look at it and be like, what the hell's wrong with this? There's weird things that, and I learn over time, you know, the internet is awesome because you get to learn so much, but unless you take a class or a course that really shows
courses are bomb.
It matters. Because people try to just go to YouTube and figure it out, but there's too many.
It's there, but it's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, like, especially depends on how you learn. Like for me, I need it laid out in order. Someone being like, this is what you do, and then this is what you do next. Like, yes, I'm good at like Googling and solving an issue, but if it's like, when it came down to like learning my cameras and everything to do with them, I needed coursework. I needed someone to go, this is first step, second step, third step, and this is how you do it all.
Yeah.
Because like going from video to video where this guy's like, hey guys, what's up? You know, and he's like, today I'm going to teach you the 5 best hacks to whatever. And then I haven't really learned anything because he's also selling a course.
Yeah.
You know, like people are making that content usually for a purpose to also benefit them, so that you're not getting the full story. So like,
you don't even know if they know
exactly.
Because I've watched so many videos where somebody shows me how to do it one way, and then there was a much easier way to do it.
Exactly.
And that's the problem with YouTube. YouTube is great because it is free. There's a lot of information out there, There's some good and there's some bad.
I have learned a ton from YouTube and I've learned a ton from courses, but I can tell you the easier way is to buy a course or to get the education.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is to learn from people's mistakes. Like pay for people's mistakes. That's if anyone's starting a business or anything or wanting to get into a new field, I'll always say pay for the knowledge that others have already messed up. Like,
yeah,
because that's the best thing you do is skip their, like you buy a course from a wedding videographer.
Same mistakes they made.
Yeah. You buy a course from a wedding videographer that's been in it for 10 years and he's making a quality course. Like you've just skipped 10 years of learning.
Yeah.
Just by watching his course. Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of courses out there for it? I'm sure there is.
Yeah, there is. And like Sawyer Wright, he was getting started, wanting to get, because he's just out of high school and he was wanting to get started. And I recommended him to the same course I did, which was called Full-Time Filmmaker. And I found them on YouTube. And it's just incredible for business, for real estate, for weddings. They just have everything in there. And it's like, what's crazy is I think the cost was like $600.
Wow.
To learn everything I needed to know about like kind of running a business. And then the rest of it was, then I went to more courses about pricing and more courses about like, you know, how to talk to wedding clients and how to provide them more value and things like that. So
how did you find them? Like, how did you choose them though? Because what happens if you, I think everyone's fear is, well, what if I try to go out and start this business? I choose this person I find on YouTube because I think they're good. I spend $600 and then it's not it.
I've been burned.
Yeah.
So I have bought a wedding course on YouTube, and it was actually right out of the gate of leaving my last job. So this was November. We got right out of the school or whatever. I left Gascony County School District, and I bought a course like that same week. I was like, all right, this is time to go. It's, you know, I have all this time off. It's time to go. And I had this guy I'd been watching on YouTube, and I bought his course, and I thought it was kind of strange whenever they were like, because I had talked to one of the guys that runs the course, and I thought it was strange because he kept trying to push the mentorship part, which is like thousands of dollars. And I was like, I just want the coursework. Like, I'll make the coursework.
Where'd you find this guy?
YouTube. And I was like, I'll make the coursework work. You know, I'll learn it and everything. And he's like, well, the mentorship's really where it's at, you know? And I'm like, well, let me just buy the coursework. And it was like $1,600.
Wow.
And the coursework was horrible. I got in there and I was like, dude, I've been had. And I looked at it for a week, and it was just laid out in a way that I don't learn. Like, some people learn different ways. I learn a certain way, and this wasn't like concise. This wasn't like a dude in front of a nice camera saying, this is what you do. This was a guy on a training call telling people how to do it, but he's like figuring it out as well as he's teaching them. And it's just like these 2-hour videos on how to run a Facebook ad.
He needed a course on how to teach a course.
What's crazy is I believe his mentorship's good. And I'm sure with his coursework that, you know, like, you probably don't need his coursework if the mentorship's good.
Yeah. But there's got to be a structure to the coursework.
For me, there has to be, or I can't learn.
Well, imagine reading a book that's bouncing all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where I get a lot of my knowledge, is a book.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't imagine. I'm imagining this course that's not laid out smoothly. Like I'm imagining like writing a textbook that's chapter 1, and he starts on one thing and then gets dragged off because he's like, well, you also got to do this.
Yeah.
Like it's not just, I imagine just not being in line perfectly. It kind of bouncing around a little bit.
Yeah. And like right out of my job, $1,600 hurt. I was like, I was like,
$1,600 hurts no matter what.
Yeah, I was so sure. I was like, this is going to be like a level up moment here. And then I got like nothing out of it. So then I had to hustle, you know, to like make myself feel like I made up for it and stuff. And, so how I found the course that I originally learned from was actually, that was like kind of like a do or die moment. Barely covered the Bandam, Tyler had booked me, for a video because he was DJing at the time. And someone, messaged us and was like, hey, do any of your guys do video? And Tyler was like, well, we got that video camera. It was like a Sony AX11 camcorder. And he's like, if anyone could do it, it's probably Casey. And he messaged me. He's like, hey, they want you to do this for like $500. And I was like, sweet, $500? Sure, I'll go film a wedding for the day. And at the time I had done like music videos and stuff for Barely Covered, or, you know, we just used it for goofy stuff. And And so this wedding crept up on me, and I got like a month out from it. And I was like, dude, I don't know how to film someone's wedding. I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so I started researching on YouTube, and I found one YouTube channel I was really like attracted to. And then I found myself watching a lot of their free content. And so after absorbing a lot of that and being like, okay, I can see the knowledge is here. I went to look at their course, and it was like $600 or something. And it was like the best investment I ever made. $600 to learn how to run an entire business. It was incredible.
Amazing. You had to pay $1,600, got crapped on, and then you pay $600. And
yeah. And the reason is because I nervous bought the 1,600 thing. I was in this mode where like I was kind of in a panic. And I was like, okay, my life just took a big turn. It's time to like level up. And I didn't vet the guy enough. I didn't like, I wasn't absorbing his content a lot, like I was the other one. And now that I look back, I can see that I had really spent some time with the other like company before I bought their course. Like I had spent time there for a while, for a few weeks, even just like grinding all their free content. And, but no, I mean like what's funny though, is that wedding was going to make me 500. I spent 600 on a course to learn how to do it.
Well, yeah,
I didn't want to, and at the time I wasn't even sure that it was going to, their free YouTube content was kind of like assuring me that you could run a business off of their course. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just spend the 600. And then I got farther in the course. I'm like, well, I actually need another piece of equipment. So by the time I filmed that $500 wedding, I spent $1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's part of going all in.
It is. And then, but that one wedding ended up booking me like 6 weddings right off the bat at like $1,300 is what I think I was charging at that time. And, which bought me some of my gear. And then finally we paid off gear here recently. And that's whenever we pulled the trigger on full time. So
cool. Yeah. Because
gear's expensive.
Oh, I
know, you know.
Well, no, I don't even, I bet I don't even, yeah, and like all this stuff I'm learning as I go, and it hurts, man. It hurts to have to try to buy, like this microphone alone, I think is almost $300. Mm-hmm. But when I started out, I bought those Shure that you're using, the MV7s, and they're $150. And like those are an upgrade, or I think they might actually be $200 because they were an upgrade from my Blue Yeti that I was using on my YouTube content, like my video game content.
It was like $100.
Yeah, at Walmart. You can go buy them from Walmart. They're just USB, nothing special mic.
These are way nicer.
Way nice. And this one is way nicer. And I was literally thinking today that I've been contemplating, I want to upgrade both of those mics. And so I was contemplating today, I'm like, do I pull the trigger on it? And I'm like, if I want to upgrade my podcast and keep going with this, you got to do it. It's part of investing. It's part of growing. And the thing is, what sucks about my content is that I don't get paid for it. If you guys are listening right now, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Get me to 1,000 subscribers. It's amazing how just asking people to like and subscribe and they actually will.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people aren't doing it, like don't subscribe out of not liking me or whatever.
They just don't know to do it.
Yeah, they just don't know to do it. They don't know the importance of it. And so I've been really on it hard. Over the top probably. But in 2 weeks now that I've been going over the top on it, I went from, I think I was down at like 245. And what is today? Thursday?
Thursday.
Today's Thursday. So I had a podcast on Tuesday that I did and I put out and I was up to 292. So I went from 245 all the way to 292 in 2 weeks. And for me, that's a great growth.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have that kind of growth in my YouTube channel on YouTube videos. When I did it for a year and a half, didn't get like hardly any followers, maybe 2 or 3 followers in a year and a half. But I don't get paid for any of this until I make it to 1,000 subscribers, and it's just a lot of money, a lot of investment. But if you're going to go in on something, you got to go in on it first and then expect people to start following you. Doing it where you're like, well, if like thinking that someone is going to have to pay you $500 first, and then whenever you make $500, then you go buy a camera. That's not how it works. Yeah. You have to make an initial investment and then hope people keep coming back to you. But you got to also try your hardest to keep it going. And I think that's how you can see really very fast if someone's going to make it or not. Because they're like, well, I just don't have the money to invest in it. Well, it's like, I don't know. You can't expect me to pay for your stuff first. Yeah. Like, it's like expecting someone to pay you to learn. It's just not how you do it. Like, you got to go and take the class first. You got to go buy the equipment first. Yeah. You got to put some work in first.
Yeah, and like I'm in like a few filmmaking groups that like normally courses will come with like a Facebook group that's private where you can go in and talk to other, like for me it's like other filmmakers and stuff. So like I'll share like big wins in there and stuff, like milestones and stuff. I'll be like, hey guys, this is what I just hit or whatever. And then I'll get people in my inbox, other filmmakers messaging me all the time. And they'll be messaging me questions like, dude, if I'm out on a wedding day and like I'm shooting at this shutter speed and this is going on, and I'm like, well, it was in the course. Like, and I can just tell, like, and these are dudes that are struggling, and I'm like, dude, you gotta go put in the work, man. Like, yeah. Like, and I'll end up answering like 20 questions out of the course that I knew because I watched the content. And finally I'll just message him and be like, hey man, you gotta go watch the course, dude. Like, I love you and I wish you the best, but you gotta go work. Like,
yep. Yeah. So, that's how I am with like some entrepreneurs that come on, and I got a lot to figure out still. I mean, I'm learning.
Same. Absolutely.
I'm learning every single day. So I'm not trying to, I definitely don't try to tell anyone that they're dumb or they don't know what they're talking about or that they can't make it. But that's why I push these books on people, because someone comes to me with a question. I'm like, hey, you ever tried reading this book? Because it has a lot of the information in it, that a lot of the steps that you're messing up at that I can see. I'm like, if you just read this book, you'd figure it out very quickly. Same with those guys. If they just did the course, they would figure it out. Yeah. They're just not wanting to put in the work. Yeah. I had a question that I was actually going to ask you about it, but I can't remember what I was going to ask now. Well, if we go back to the art section of it, because I have a guy, his name is Levi, and he's starting to sell art. He makes all different kinds of art, and he's actually going to come on the podcast here. I think he has a show that he said if he can get accepted to this art show in September, he'll come on in like May time. But he wants to make me a piece for my table. He does some like clay sculpting style stuff. And yeah, I thought so too. And he's like, you want me to make you a piece? I'm like, yeah, I'll take a piece. And he was wanting to know what I wanted. I was like, I don't freaking know. Like, I don't have that idea. I think it'd be cool to have a piece, but I don't know what to ask him for. And I feel like that's the same way with videography. Like if I was going to have you, like when you came and did the video for my gym, I'm like, you do whatever. Yeah. Like, you know exactly what you want, come with some ideas. Because I feel like when it comes to art, you're better off to leave it in the artist size. Yeah, and that's the way a lot of brides answer those questions. Because I have like questions I run through, and like one of them, I ask people like what their likes and dislikes are, and a lot of time that's a hard question because they're like, I don't know. We just came to you because we like your stuff, and like, good. And that's what it ends up coming up to is just like, do you. But I still think it's always important to ask people like, and try to get an idea for like where their head's at. Yeah, but it's like one of those things where you don't know. Yeah. And when they don't know, I'm like, well, I'm glad you came here because we'll just get it done. Yeah. Yeah. Cause it matters. Cause that's why, I mean, I've reached out to you about stuff like vlogging and stuff in the past. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to find someone that can do, like, I hope I can get to the point in my life where I can pay someone, because that's where I struggle the most, is that artistic. I can think of some content, but I can't. There's just so much I'm missing out on. And I wish there was like a course of some kind or a book. I'm more in the books. I can't sit down and watch a video. I have not gotten into the financial book phase of my life yet. Really? I have not audiobooks or nothing. Like, I've definitely I've seen a couple like mindset seminars and stuff that like a friend took me to. A guy named Chris Crone. I went to one of his. I've heard of that name. He's like a real estate mogul dude. Okay. But it was just a mindset weekend in like Utah or something. It was pretty cool. Really? Yeah, I thought it was really cool. But I have not gotten into the like something like that costs. So he took me as a guest. How'd you meet him? Well, that was just my buddy. That was my buddy Eric out of Kansas City. He does like so actually when I was working at the gas station, Chris Crone. It was a K? Why did I imagine it was a K? I think it is. I think it's KRIS. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched any of his content. I still get his emails all the freaking time. Chris Crone. I'm trying to look him up. It's very cool. Like, the experience was very cool. Like, they had you do all these exercises and stuff and do all this stuff. You made you way uncomfortable. But it was like a business mindset thing for like entrepreneurs and stuff. And that was before I'd even like really was running a business or anything. I just went with a buddy, and
that actually was probably whenever it started to open my mind to like, hey, there's other ways to make money besides working at this gas station. Like, started getting the gears turning, you know?
So did Chris bring you on or did your friend bring you on?
My friend. Yeah. He was just like, hey, I got this guy I'm going to see. Cause at the time I was actually doing something called phone flipping. Like I was just like buying electronics and selling them on eBay. Mm-hmm. And that's what my buddy Eric was teaching me. And he's like, well, hey, I'm going to look at this thing for investing in real estate. You just want to go with me. And, yeah, that dude.
I have seen this guy before.
Yeah.
He's
a beast.
Is he?
Like, yeah, of like a motivator and stuff. Yeah. Like I left there like feeling like I was Gandhi or something.
Really?
Yeah. Like I came home and I was like, I had all this energy and stuff. And so I do believe in that stuff and I think it's awesome, but I just haven't gotten into it yet. Like I've heard of that book a billion times, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, it was a big one in my life.
Yeah.
I tell people it all the time. Nobody ever listens to me. And it's to the point, I've pushed it on so many people that it's to the point where they're tired of hearing me talk about it.
Yeah.
It was so impactful for my life. And it was something that nobody ever talked about. Like you could, if you search like top financial help books, that's one of the first ones that's gonna pop up. But if you go on, like I see it all the time. People are like, oh, this is a must read. If you're going to read this is the #1 financial help book. And like for them, I don't know, like sometimes I'm like, is it the #1? Because this one's been a top seller for 20 years.
Yeah.
That in my eyes is #1. Like some of these, I just seen a TikTok or a Facebook post or something, but it was the top 5 financial help books that are going to change your life. And I had never heard of any of them. Because there's a lot of them that I've heard of, but I've never bought. I'm like, I've never heard of any of these. Because I'm not anymore, I just try to find the best. Like if I'm going to reach out for help from something, like try to learn something new, I'm trying to find, me personally, I think the books are the best. You've had great luck with courses.
Yeah.
I don't know where to reach out for courses at.
Yeah, for me it was just I stumbled upon it. Yeah. But like for me, like books, like I don't read like at all.
Yeah,
like like at all. I do have Audible, and it's just for like science fiction, like space junk. Like I just listen.
You like that stuff though?
I just listen to science fiction all the time. Yeah, me and Whitney, we like that. That's why when we're at the gym working out, that's what we're listening to.
Really,
is like audiobooks. Yeah.
So different, but
it's not like benefiting me like in my day-to-day life. I just love the story.
Okay,
I just love the stories. Yeah.
When I was working in a body shop, I read a book when I was a kid. It's called The Secrets of Drew.
I think I've heard of that.
And actually, Jimmy Angel was the one that put me onto it.
Jimmy
Angel, yeah. And we I mean, it's a kid's book. I think I remember reading it in like 5th grade.
Yeah.
Very young. And I was in a body shop, and I remember downloading, I bought, I think there's 5 of them, 6 of them. I bought them all and listened to them. Why painted cars? Because it helped my day go by. So.
Oh yeah,
like
that's where I started listening, was when I had like stock coolers at work and stuff. Like it was just like I could listen and have a good time while I was doing shit work.
Yeah,
you know.
But that's where I also started picking up the books.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because I would read the book in the afternoon. I would like put a goal, like read a chapter a night or so many pages, 10 pages a night or something. And it was hard. I am not a reader, and I'm also bad about when I start to read and I learn something and I get excited about it. Now my brain's wandering.
Oh, I have a wandering brain, dude, too. Oh my God.
Which is good and bad.
Oh yeah, I know it is. Sometimes it keeps me up. Like I'll be editing and I'll get this spark of an idea and it'll be like midnight and I'm like, God, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
And then I'll lay in bed and I can't stop thinking about it and it keeps me up for hours. Yeah.
Have you found a way to get around that so you can get it off your mind and go to bed?
It doesn't happen super often, but it happens a lot for creative processes for me. For like if I'm playing Halo Forge or something back in the day, you know, like messing with Minecraft Redstone or just things that require a lot of critical thinking, and like I'll be doing that stuff and I'll get this crazy idea and it just drives me wild. But I've gotten better at it. I don't have any way around it. No methods really. Like eventually I'll just fall asleep and be mad that I got so tired the night before. Yeah.
One thing I've learned, and I think this is something that everyone can relate to, is maybe like a song that's very catchy and it gets stuck in their head. I've learned that if I have something on my mind that's stuck and I cannot get rid of it, and a lot of times I let myself go there. But now I really let myself go there. Like if I have a song that's stuck in my head and I can't get it out of my head, I'm playing it. Just because it's on my mind. And a lot of times it's like I'm trying to just figure out the lyrics and the beat, and that's I kind of got messed up in my head. That's why I keep repeating it. Play it 5-10 times in a row. It's out of my head. Sounds kind of chaotic, but that's what I do.
Crazy.
Yeah, or if maybe I have an idea. Okay, so last night I did a video on this bussin' snacks. You ever heard of bussin' snacks? It's just exotic snacks.
Okay.
So it's like this company, you can go and you can buy it's a mystery box of random foods from across the world. So I had like a popcorn flavored
so it's a mystery box program. Okay.
yeah, but it's of snacks. Oh, here's a good example. I got a Jigglypuff drink out of it. It's a sparkling water.
It's a funny story. One time I was on a float trip and we found a drink with like Japanese writing on it. I want to say I was with Charlie and Jimmy, and we were just it was just floating in the river and it was still closed, and we were like, "What is this?" And so we just opened up and took a drink, and there was a bunch of solid chunks in it. So we don't know we never knew what they were.
Why would you take a drink out of something like that?
We were like, what is it? But obviously it was fresh. It fell out of someone's cooler up the river. It was a big floating day or whatever, and it was still closed. And this
It didn't look like it didn't have like
it didn't have Jigglypuff on it. No, it was just had a bunch of lettering on it, and we tried it. It was gross, man. It had like something solid in it and stuff.
You guys must have been drinking during this event.
Probably, yeah.
Or just something crazy three boys do when they're together.
Yeah, I think so. I wonder if they remember that. I'll have to ask.
Oh, I bet they do. I don't think
it was them. I think it was them. It might have been Joe Angel. I don't know. I don't know. It was a float trip. I was on the river and we found a Japanese cup. So,
well, like last night I did this video and I was just having a lot of fun with it. It was fun to do it. All I did it was just like an unboxing. I got it, opened it up.
Yeah, it's cool.
Pulled all the stuff out, tried all the stuff. It's just fun to do. It cost $35, $40 for the box. I have a lot of fun making content like that, but I had some ideas for the video that I wanted to try out, like in editing. And so I remember I was like, I'm going to call it a night. And I went upstairs at 8:30 at night, and I'm just now eating dinner because I've been making the video and uploading and everything. And I got done eating. It's 9 o'clock, 9:10 at night, and I go to bed at 9. Like, that's my bedtime, is 9 o'clock. And I couldn't get off my mind. I'm like, I got to go edit this thing. And I knew that if I tried to go to bed, I wasn't going to sleep. So I was going to be up to midnight anyway, because I was just thinking about editing this video. So it's easier for me to just come down and knock the video out and get some editing done on it until the point where I'm like, okay, I'm happy. I satisfied that urge.
That makes sense.
To do it. And there's sometimes where I don't just give in to all my urges, but whenever I have something, especially if it's like productive.
Oh yeah. Like you're right. Like if you're going to go lay in bed for 2 hours, not be able to sleep because you're thinking of it, you could have been 2 hours into the project.
Yeah.
And satisfied that need. Yeah.
Or even if I just have something on my mind, like at night, and I like just laying there and in the dark, I'm just thinking and thinking and thinking. I'm like, I'm just going to turn the TV on. I'm going to watch something. Like, what's the point? I did it as a kid. I would just lay there for like 2 hours and not be able to fall asleep. And then I just learned that, why am I torturing myself?
Were you watching Cartoon Network, Adult Swim?
As a kid?
Yeah. So was I. Commercials were wild that way.
They were, dude. They were. I would say, what is the one on Cartoon Network?
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Got caught watching that a lot. And I never even liked it that much. I just sat and watched it, and it was
there's one even worse than that. The meatball was
Squidbillies.
No, not Squidbillies. That was
terrible too.
This is like, I think it was like some home video.
Oh, it's called Home Videos.
Is it?
Yeah, it was called Home Videos.
And they're like little, I imagine being like, it was like the most.
Type in Adult Swim Home Video, and that's the name of the show. And it had like this gym teacher or something on it, a scraggly voice. Yeah, that show was wild. Every time I wake up, that show was on.
Oh, dude, yeah, this is it. Dude, this gave me an uncomfortable feeling.
That show is weird, man.
It was like an uncomfortable. I haven't thought about this show in so long.
I haven't either.
It's poorly drawn cartoons. Now, but was it an adult cartoon?
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. Most of those shows on Adult Swim were not for children, I don't think. And like I said, the commercial breaks definitely weren't for children either. They were just girls going wild commercials all night long.
Yeah.
I'd wake up at like 2 a.m. and like 6th grade, and there was girls going wild trailers on the TV. And I was like, what the?
That was on Adult Swim?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Well, Family Guy would come on first. I remember Family Guy. I had to stay up to at least 10.
I think it was like at the time, it was one of the more mild shows, but my favorite was Robot Chicken. I always stayed up for Robot Chicken.
See, I never got into Robot Chicken.
That was the stop motion show. I thought it was fascinating how they make those stop motion shows and stuff, you know? That was made actually that show's by Seth Green. He's the one who writes and produces that whole show.
Isn't Seth Green, what's another big show he makes?
Well, he's Chris in Family Guy.
Oh, okay.
And he's also in that movie Without a Paddle is probably one of his bigger movies.
Oh, I didn't. He's
a little, yeah, he makes Robot Chicken. Yeah.
And wow, I didn't know he was
that's
Chris.
actually like all that stuff's from like because that show is like animated action figures and stuff, you know, doing skits. It's like skit comedy. That's actually from his collection of nerdy stuff too. Like those are all his like toys and stuff from a kid. So like,
oh, really?
yeah, that show's wild.
What a weird concept for a show.
Yeah.
The fact that somebody actually approved it.
The amount of work that goes into making a show like that is incredible too. Stop motion is not easy.
Yeah. And then you got
Very
South Park
time-consuming.
that they make an episode in a week.
Yeah, but what was also crazy is at the time that was stop motion too.
South Park was?
Back in the day, that was actual construction paper. Like they would literally, that show was made out of construction paper and they were still pumping them out a week at a time. Yeah, if you watch documentaries on how South Park was made, now it's digital. But back in the day, it was literally like season 1 and 2, I think, were legitimately cardboard or construction paper. It's wild.
Yeah, I'm going to see which episode they ended it on. When did South Park stop using it? Season 4.
Yeah, and they would make them week at a time, and like because the episodes were always just like they still are. They're up to date with current events.
Yeah.
So they would make them like something would happen a week before, and 2 weeks later, South Park was covering it on a stop motion show made of construction paper.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, they were insane.
Yeah,
because the guys that do it are hilarious.
And whether or not you approve of South Park, you have to admire the genius behind it. It's too good. No one's safe, and also no one's safe. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I have South Park is a wild show.
It is. I never watched it as a kid. I just watched. What was the movie?
Tyler's been trying to get me to watch the new stuff, and I haven't watched in a long time.
I haven't watched the new stuff either. I fell in.
They just had one on Chat GPT, so the Chat AI.
Oh, they
just put one out. I think last week Tyler was telling me to watch. He said it's pretty good. Said they hit the nail right on the head, like always.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to just basically get canceled, I think.
Yeah.
I think at the end of one of the episodes, it literally just went to a black screen. They're like, please stop watching. Just cancel us. Like, please stop watching so we can quit doing this. Because they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, they have a lot of money, too.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, like, look how big the Book of Mormon is. Like, I think the band's talking about going to see Book of Mormon when it comes back to the Fox next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, I think that's the name of the creators. Because they wrote Book of Mormon, and that one, like, I don't know, what did they win in like plays? Is it Tony's? That won like awards. That's supposed to be an amazing play. But I've always wanted to see it because their Mormon episodes are amazing. If you haven't seen it,
I don't know. I can't like picture one off the top of my head. They've won a Tony.
Yeah, it's supposed to be insane.
They won 9 Tony Awards for the Book of Mormon, including the best musical.
And they wrote that. The dudes from South Park wrote that. It's crazy. They're geniuses.
They are geniuses.
And the Book of Mormon is I don't know. If it's anything like their South Park episodes about Mormon religion, it's going to be wild. Because that's nothing against Mormons. I don't dislike any religions or anything, but it's just crazy stuff.
It is crazy stuff. Well, it's crazy that they won this many awards. 9 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, Best Score, Best Book, Best Direction, and Best Featured Actress.
Yeah, and what's crazy is when it comes to town, it sells out quick. It's like apparently hard to get tickets for.
I've never really. I mean, it's legit a book.
Yeah, and it's a big play, man. It's a big thing. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, I would love to go see. I think
Are they going to come to St. Louis this year?
I think next year they've got a date scheduled for the Fox or something. I know the guys in the band were talking about it the other day.
Yeah, I'm going to see if they're coming to St. Louis or not. Well, you guys got some big. Well, I don't want to talk about it too much.
Yeah.
But do we? If anyone doesn't know, Casey's in Barely Covered.
Yeah.
It's a local band, and you guys got some big stuff coming up. We don't want to ruin it because.
I mean, it's not ruined. We basically have a show coming up at Pops in St. Louis on March 31st. Excuse me. We have a few dates at Lake of the Ozarks this year where we're playing at a resort. We're also playing at the Ozark Amphitheater, opening up for Breaking Benjamin and Bush. When
is that? What date?
May 11th. I want to say 11th, and then we head over to Bear Bottom Resort and Lake of the Ozarks the next day, and we play Friday and Saturday as well. So we're playing at Lake of the Ozarks the 11th, 12th, and 13th. So 11th at the amphitheater, the Camdenton Amphitheater, and then we're playing Bear Bottom Resort the 12th and 13th. And then later this year we have Battle at Busch, which is at Busch Stadium on the concourse. We're gonna play a set of our original music. So
And that's in May, or that's later?
that's in August. That's August 6th.
Oh, that's in August. Okay.
And that's something like here soon we're gonna start pushing those ticket sales.
Yeah.
We got caught in one of those Facebook algorithm things. So the first time we did this Battle at Busch was before COVID, and we sold 150 Cardinals tickets in 24 hours. It was crazy. Our post blew up, and within 24 hours we were out of Cardinals tickets. And the rep was like, "You want more?" He was like, "What do you mean?" Because I guess bands normally don't sell them out, but Barely Covered has a pretty good reach.
Yeah.
But this time when we shared the Battle of Busch post, it got like 19 likes. And I'm like, freaking Facebook algorithm, man, from a business page, because it's always so unpredictable.
Yep.
And then I posted a picture of me playing, a video of me playing drums a few days before that got 40 likes. And I'm like, there's no reason that video of me playing drums should have got less likes than our Busch Stadium post. And so after this pop show, we're going to start pushing the Busch Stadium again, because that post just got crapped on or something.
Yeah.
Because it should not be hard to sell $30 Cardinal tickets. And I think they're in like lower left field box or something like that.
So they're good seats.
They're better than the last time, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
And you get a t-shirt and a show.
For $30.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys don't have tickets yet though?
Yeah, we have them. Yeah. We're building a list right now of like people's orders and stuff. And once we have enough, then we'll push forward for the t-shirt order and stuff.
Okay. Well, I remember I commented on you guys' post.
Yeah, you're in our Excel sheet. We keep an Excel sheet with everybody's names, how many shirts, tickets, and they're in order. That way, when we hand you tickets, you're sitting next to the people you ordered with.
Okay, cool. I didn't order with anyone.
Yeah. So yeah, I know. I put you in by yourself. I was like, how sad.
I don't really care. Well, I need to get one for Ariel too, though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. No, I need to though.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Well then.
I figured someone would reach out.
We'll just bump the rows down so you get a seat next to Ariel.
Cool. When can I pay for it though?
I don't know. We need to work. We need to work on a plan.
Yeah.
And we just didn't start working on a plan right away because it bombed so hard. We made the post and we were expecting because I made a post the other night. Thanks for coming to Bogies. We played a bunch of songs that night and it got like 200 likes. And I'm like, why did our Busch Stadium post get night? But that's just how it works. It happens at Erhart Productions all the time.
Yeah.
You're better to post your business from a personal page than you are a freaking business page. Because they want you to buy ad space.
Do you think there's a difference between a video and a picture versus just a normal ad?
It depends. If it's external, count your blessings. If you link to anything outside of Facebook, count your blessings if it gets shown to anybody, because they want you to stay on their site.
Yeah.
I think that's knowledge for.
Oh, so you're saying like how I put my YouTube link on my
That's
ads?
not being shown to nearly as many people as it's just not. They don't want you to click YouTube links, so they just won't show it to as many people.
Wow.
I mean, it's the same way, like, there's a lot of guys in the filmmaking business and stuff, wedding filmmaking stuff, that they post to their personal page only because, like, they get that on their business page, there's that random chance that Facebook won't show it because they want you to pay for ad revenue. They want you to boost, which can't blame them. I mean, it's how they make money.
Yeah.
But if they build all these brides on their personal page, then they're just going to see those all the time. Facebook's not worried about squashing your personal post because you're not a business in their eyes. I suppose you could get in trouble for running a business off your personal page, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
I mean, every single person on earth promotes their own business on their personal page.
Right. Well, I think a lot of it starts out there too.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do like 50-50. I sometimes post on Erhart Productions, sometimes post on my personal, just so I stay relevant in both in case people aren't seeing the Erhart Productions ones. If they like me, then they're seeing those. So
I guess I never really thought about it because like what I do here versus what I do for my gym is two totally different things.
Oh yeah.
The stuff I do for my gym is almost disconnected from me. I take pictures and videos and post it on there, but I keep it very professional. It's strict gym stuff.
Yeah.
And it all seems to do pretty well on there, hit or miss. I really don't pay attention to it. Not that I don't care about it. I just don't care about the likes and the shares and stuff. I love it when people share it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that people like it. It does help everything. But I'm going to post regardless on there.
Yeah.
Because I'm always coming out with something new. I'm always updating something.
For sure.
So that on there, it's kind of it's just content for people. So anybody that's come to my page or anybody that is working with joining the gym, they can come there and find whatever they need to find. They don't have to go out there and dig, or they don't have to even, I want people to be able to go to my Facebook page for my gym and know exactly everything. I want them to know prices. I want them to know what the place looks like. I want them to know me. I want them to know everything about the gym. So that's kind of, it's just a lot of it's informative.
Yeah.
I think technically it's, in my eyes, it's almost all informative, whether it's informing about prices, whether it's just informing them about a workout, whatever. It's just all a type of advertising for the gym. I think that's how, honestly, what's your opinion on advertising? Like, how often do you market and advertise to your business?
So I haven't really ran too many paid ads.
No, screw paid ads.
Yeah, I did run one through February, and I did book a bride out of there. So, I mean, it returned itself a lot, you know, because I think I spent like $100 for the month and then booked a bride, you know, and like 20x the money or whatever, you know. So it does work, but the leads I was getting were not ideal. Like, you know, I ended up getting like probably 40 messages that month, and most are people that I wouldn't have even qualified to get on a consultation, just because, like, I don't know. I feel like Facebook's out there showing that ad to a bunch of people, and you end up getting like people who don't know the value of like wedding videography. So I had a lot of people coming in like wanting wedding videos for like $200 and stuff. Yeah. And that was a problem, as opposed to if you follow me and actually know my work and like you learn about me organically, you know that the product's more high quality than $200. Like,
do you have it set up where someone can see roughly where pricing might go?
No, I get on, so I used to share that. And the reason I don't now is I feel like if brides see my price without knowing me at all, they don't see as much of the value. So that's why we do consultations, and they're always no pressure. We get on there, we talk, I share a collection with them. And we talk about how we can make it work. If that's what they really, if we're what they really want, and I see we're a good fit. And I also don't share it because those things can change a little bit depending on your wedding date too. Like a wedding date in October is way more high demand than a wedding date in, say, like someone wants to get married in December, like a cold month like that. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm more likely for a December date to work with them on a price. So I don't want I don't want my prices to scare people off, because there's always room to work. Like, that's what I always tell people. I'm like, well, if you don't think you can afford it, call me and let's talk. Yeah. Because, you know, there might be somewhere we can cut, like maybe we can't, because I did cut second shooter a couple times last year to make packages work for people. I was like, well, hey, if that's a little bit out, you know, this is what I pay my second shooter. Let's cut that back. It'll just be me. And then I'll send them an example of what I can still do without my second shooter. And I'll be like, hey, does this more work? And we can work down. So as of like 6 or 7 months ago, I removed my pricing for my website.
I guess that makes a lot of sense.
I think sometimes it can be damaging though, because people get nervous to reach out and they're like, well, I don't know what this is going to cost. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I asked.
There's pros and cons.
But the way you explain it makes sense. Now, do you maybe have like a guarantee of any kind, or you ever thought about doing like guarantee?
Like example, like what do you mean?
I don't know how you would do it, but maybe like a satisfaction guaranteed, which is hard to do. But it
would be hard to do, because like in my contract, there's stuff in there about, you know, like you can ask for a revision or something, you know, like if a bride, I always want it to be very, very formal for a bride. Like if they have a problem with the video, they're like, hey, I saw my dad's new wife in there and I cannot stand her. I just don't want to see her face every time I open my wedding film. I'm be like, cool, let me go in and like, let me adjust that for you. There's always going to be that room for, I'm never going to be like, no, that's what you get out, you know, see you never. Like, there's always going to be that professionalism of, hey, or like, if someone's like, hey, this music is a drag. And I'll be like, well, I did not hit the mark on that one. And that's obviously a big fix, you know, because the whole video is built around it. But that's why I also set a lot of expectations at the beginning. I think a lot of business comes down to setting expectations, especially in a creative process like this. Like, you just set those expectations, and I don't think that really I'll run into that too much, just because people are buying my service for what I make, like specifically, and they know what they're getting into. And also, even when I send off a video that I'm not super confident in, which does happen, you know, I'm only human. I'll watch my footage. When you're
super critical on yourself. Yeah. That's just how you are.
Yeah. And then I'll send it off and they're like absolutely in love with it. And I'm like, okay, we're good. And I don't think that anybody sees their wedding film, especially one from us, and they're going to be like, well, this is garbage. I think they're going to see them in the footage, and like, cause they're seeing on an entirely different emotional level than I am. I get emotional sometimes watching them back, you know, like I'll watch them like, okay, that was really good or whatever, you know? And that's kind of the rule of thumb that we follow. If I'm watching it back and find myself smiling at my desk, like that's when I know it's good.
Yeah.
Like if I'm watching it back and I'll just be sitting there watching it for a while and I'll catch myself smiling and I'm like, this is good. If I'm smiling, then they're going to love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so.
And I want to make sure that I just pointed out the fact that when you say you're not fully happy with it, it's not because
It's not
because you're pushing it out quickly or like something wasn't good.
I've spent a lot of time with your wedding film by then. That's what it is.
Yeah, and you're just so critical on it.
Yeah.
When you're someone that's, would you consider yourself a perfectionist at your traits?
Sometimes.
People make it sound out like it's a bad thing. Like if you're like I've literally had people tell me before, they're like, are you ever going to be happy? Like there's things that I'm always wanting to improve on, or whenever I achieve something, because we're in two different atmospheres of business and what we're trying to do, kind of. But I'll get something and people are like, you ever going to be happy? You ever just thought about stopping, taking a step back, just being happy for what you have? And I'm like, I am happy with what I have, but I always want to do better.
Yeah. And
I always want to grow. I don't like being the same.
And that's what I was talking about, like reviewing last year's films. Like I wanted to watch through them, and I even found like in one of them I found a bad cut. If she's watching, then she'll be looking for it. They'll all
Don't say the name. Just don't say a name.
No. And it's all it was like between two scenes, I forgot to close it. And I review these things over and over, and I've seen it a few times since, but it's been a while now, and I was watching it and I saw it. And it's just like a flash of black between two scenes, just like a quick flash. And I don't think most people are even going to ever see it.
Nobody will.
But I was looking at it and I was like, what was that? And I backed it up and I actually opened her project file and looked at it. And I'm like, there's a bad cut in here. And I was like, if I didn't see it through review and nobody's ever, and like, even if she does see it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it leads into a little bit of that like perfectionist thing. But yeah, I always watch back to see what the next step is. Like for me, I think some of my films, I felt like I was overexposed on a little bit. So this year I'm working on exposure, white balance, and hopefully moving up to the next camera this year too, which is going to give me.
What do you got your eyes on?
I got so I got two options. Right now I shoot on Sony A7 IIIs, which camera nerd talk. Those are 8-bit color depth. So those are Sony A7 IIIs. Yeah, those are 8-bit color depth. And they shoot, because I'm wanting to shoot all 4K all the time. And like those cameras, and like people be
these are good cameras.
People get the SpongeBob thing and they're like, well, my phone shoots 4K. And I'm like, yeah, your phone shoots 4K, but not at the same quality.
Yeah.
But just like you can go buy a $50 camera at Walmart that says 4K on it. You know what I mean? Like everything says 4K on it.
I have a off-brand GoPro. It's not even a GoPro. It's an off-brand GoPro.
Everything says 4K on it.
It's an AV 4K. This thing is garbage.
That means that it shoots the resolution size of 4K. It's not actually shooting all the pixels that can fill that up.
What a scam, though, in the industry.
It is. It really is. So, but I'm wanting to buy the big brother from that, which is an A7S III, and it's like a $4,000 camera. Yeah, because my A7 IIIs were about $2,000 a piece.
A7S III.
Yeah, A7S III. And that guy right there shoots in 10-bit color depth. Or I'm going to buy the FX30, the Sony FX30, which I believe, I don't know how much the FX30 costs. Check it.
You want to know how much the S3 costs? Should I say it?
It's $3,800, right?
Well, I found it for
Does it have a lens?
$3,500.
Okay, yeah.
No lens, though. No lens.
They fluctuate in price all the time, too.
What was the other one?
FX30.
Sony A7? FX30?
No, Sony FX30.
Just FX30.
Yep. Yeah, it's not an A series camera. That's an actual cinema camera.
Oh, okay.
Because my cameras can do photography as well. But that one doesn't really do photography, the FX30. What's the price on that?
It's kind of all over the place. Without a lens, you look about $1,800.
Oh, no, hold on. Try the FX3. Get rid of that zero.
Oh, okay.
There it is. Yeah, the 30 is the entry level.
$4,000.
Yeah.
Holy.
And the difference in those cameras compared to the ones I shoot weddings with now is they have something called 10-bit color depth. So I would be going from 8-bit color depth to 10-bit color depth, which means that I can push and pull my colors a lot more in post-production. So like when I'm out shooting, like basically what I see in my camera lens looks almost like black and white. It's like I'm shooting in something called log. And basically when I get back to my computer, it just gives me much more dynamic range to pull the colors around. So then I have to color grade all the footage that comes back from a wedding day. But with those new cameras, there's just like an entirely new world of color depth between that 8 and 10-bit. So eventually I plan on upgrading my main shooter to one of those guys. And these things are wild, dude.
Yeah.
They're wild. They're just like, and what's crazy, it's one of those things too, where people will be like, you know, guys in the industry will tell you, they're like, hey, the cameras you have good are now, make sure you perfect those before you go buying more gear, because it's about how you use your gear.
Yeah.
You know, and I agree with that, you know, because you can always get so much more out of what you have. But man, I'm starting to get to the point now where I can see the difference. Because at first I was like, well, I can't see the difference, but now I can.
Yeah.
And I know that's the next step up. I know that's the next level up for Erhart Productions, is getting better color depth and being able to shoot those slow motion scenes in a much higher resolution than I do now.
What can you say what you're using right now?
Yeah, I'm using A7 IIIs. That's that first one you looked up. Yeah, they're like, I think they're like $2,000 or something, and I have like 3 of those that I shoot with on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, a little over $2,000 if you want a lens.
Yeah. And if you shop smart on eBay, you get them cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've tried.
It took me 6 months to get all 3 of them, and I got them all for $1,200, brand new on eBay.
Like I was $1,200 each.
Yeah, I was very careful.
Wow.
I'd like message the sellers and go through conversations with them. If it seemed sketchy, I would just make sure that I could tell they were camera people.
Uh-huh.
And then like one of them had like 2,000 photos taken on it. One of them was brand new in box, and he wouldn't take it out of the box to send me pictures. And he's like, well, I don't want to ruin the new in box thing. And I'm like, dude, $1,200 for a brand new one. I was like, God, I take the chance. And I ended up in a conversation with him for a while, and could tell that he was a camera guy, and could tell that like I started getting a feel for it and bought it. It came in and it was brand new. Wow. And I was like, no way, dude.
Yeah. How did you get lucky like that?
I just like I said, it took 6 months of me refreshing eBay every couple times a day. And I just eventually was like,
it popped up. You bought it.
Yeah. And then like, even if I didn't have the money, I was like, well, the credit card's getting charged $1,200 because this is my chance to get the camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got everything.
That's a hustle right there.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Well, that's a big vlog camera. A lot of guys use that to vlog with.
Oh yeah, that's a huge camera. Also, what I don't like about the current cameras I have, they don't have flip out screens. They have tilt screens. So all my cameras, I can't film myself with them and see what I'm looking at. It drives me crazy. So I have an external monitor when I film myself at home, like for videos for YouTube or Facebook. I have to put an external monitor on it and power it and face it to me. That way I can at least see myself. All the Big Brother cameras to that one will have a screen just like your camcorder.
That one doesn't have the mirror, like the.
You can't flip it and turn it. No, it just tilts outward. Yeah.
My little Canon over there, you can flip it all the way up. So
that's what I'm saying. Can't do that.
What the hell?
It's just, I think it's one of those things where they put it on the camera. They're like, this is a great camera, but we can get them to charge an extra $1,000 if we don't put that feature on here.
Yeah. You know what though? My Canon over there, I actually really liked it when I had it. It wasn't nothing special, but for me, it was a great starting point. Honestly, I don't know why I don't just go with those cameras for the podcast here.
You'd probably be fine.
I just never know. I never freaking know, dude. And you can drop some money on something
and then not like it,
and it'd be totally wrong.
Yeah,
it'd be like my Focusrite for my microphones here. They just all over the internet said use the Focusrite interface, but what I needed was the Tascam mixer, one that I could adjust it and watch it on there. And
yeah, that thing's amazing. That's cool.
I love it, man.
Yeah, Barely Covered has a nice mixer that we use. It doesn't have like a big digital readout on it, but it's just a Yamaha board, and we like it a lot.
Yeah, well, it made my life a lot easier because now it does everything from here, and I can adjust everything from the mixer, and my computer does nothing. Like my computer recognizes it, but I don't have to adjust something for my computer, and so it just makes life easier. It was all plug and play. Plugged it in, worked perfect. Focusrite, I was downloading programs. I was connecting weird things. I was trying different stuff. I beat my head against the wall so many times trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? Googled and Googled and Googled. And then it turns out I just need to spend a little bit more money, get something nice, and it worked out.
That's usually what it comes down to. Like my little external monitor I bought for my cameras, I cheaped out on that thing. It's called like an Andy Cine or something. I don't even know. But once I got it and put it on the camera, I should have done more research because like there's features it can't do that the screens that costed $120, $200 more do like 10 times the amount of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should have just spent the extra $200.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at with the podcast right now is I'm just not happy with things. And after I bought this mixer, I'm like, screw it. I'm getting new cameras. I'm getting a new video mixer. And they have a cheaper video mixer, same exact company, but the screen on it is tiny, little bitty.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like an inch by an inch, and then you can just see the screens. But this one has a big touch screen on it, a lot more features, and it was double the price. But I'm like, okay, I don't want to cheap out again. That's all I know.
And that's how Barely Covered's always bought their gear, is we're always just like, just buy the most expensive thing we can. Like if we're looking at a mixer, let's just spend $1,600 and get a nice Yamaha mixer or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or like if we're buying powered speakers, these are the best. These are going to last us for the next 20 years and be amazing. Buy these. That's just this is the same way we do with microphones and everything.
I'm so lost when it comes to cameras though, because one, I don't know how to adjust them, but I just don't know nothing about cameras, and I don't want to learn. That's what
I don't blame you. If it's not,
it's another wheelhouse I got to get into, and I have no interest in it.
Yeah.
I have 2 cameras right now that I bought. I've been waiting on my cables for anyone that's listening, and that's the reason why I haven't hooked these new cameras up. But I'm thinking about returning them and just buying more expensive ones. But my problem is there's cameras all day.
Oh yeah, and then you start buying mirrorless cameras like I shoot with, and then you're looking at lens purchases because, like, yeah, the camera, what we were talking about earlier, that's the body. Like that $4,000 camera, that's just the body. That don't come with anything.
Yeah,
you don't get nothing with that.
Yeah,
and then you're talking like if you want a lens to match the quality of the sensor in the camera. Like I think the 85 millimeter lens we just bought for Erhart Productions a few months ago was like $1,600.
It's insane.
A lens.
That's insane.
My main lens. Yeah, it's crazy. And to be honest, at some points that's cheap. Like if you're going out to buy Sony G Master lenses, you're talking like $2,500 for like a 50 millimeter 1.2, camera garbage talk lens or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I know they're not cheap. Any type of photographer, they always talk about their lenses, how expensive their lenses are and how important their lenses. And I bought some cheap lenses too. The lens I have on my camera over there right now is...
What is that?
I paid $20 for it off Amazon or something. It's just a fisheye.
Well, the lens that I bought with my Sony's first was, they call it the Nifty 50. Like every camera's got like a lens that somebody calls the Nifty 50. It's always like a cheap entry level 50 millimeter that still gets used on every wedding day. And it was a $120 lens.
Really?
Yeah. We use it on our second shooter all the time. And it's a great lens.
See, I don't even know what lens is though.
But I can tell the difference, man, whenever I slap whenever I rent like a $1,200 lens compared to that one. Mm-hmm. Like they look nice, but man, there's just something like I put on the expensive one and all of a sudden I've got my bride and groom in focus and you can see dust particles in the air around them. They're in focus as well. And I'm just like, okay, the quality's here. Like there's a reason you pay for the more expensive lenses.
I need to get somebody that can help me get a camera that can get hooked up.
Yeah.
I need something that I can, like on that one over there, I could run what's called a dummy battery in it. So I could have it plugged in all the time. Because my difference between me and you is mine's stationary. So I can get something set up and we can leave it.
Oh yeah. You get the settings dialed in, and if your lights are the same every time, then everything's good.
Yeah. I need to find someone and have it just.
Well, if you get the stuff, I'll dial them in. You know what I mean? Like
what stuff do I get?
But like those things you had there, like that little Sony, whatever you showed me before we started this.
Yeah.
That I don't even know if you can adjust that manually. I just look at it and I'm like, there's no options here. Like there probably is. I guess if you dig through the settings, you might be able to find it. But and like me, I would be like, well, I would recommend mirrorless or DSLR cameras. Like camera bodies like that one back there. Because I just don't know anything about the world of camcorders.
Yeah.
My first wedding was filmed with a camcorder, but luckily I got away from it very quickly, so I don't know anything about the world of camcorders or what people use for podcasts. But,
what's the difference? That's kind of what I'm wondering. If it's going to be powered on all the time, what's it matter if it's like, I think camcorders,
I don't think it matters. It just depends on what kind of depth you're going for. Because like a camcorder is not going to have the same depth as a lens does, because a lens is a series of glass that's built to give you different apertures of background blurs and stuff. So like you're going to start getting background blur on one of those camcorders once you zoom in really close. That's when you'll start blurring your background and getting that super nice quality, as opposed to when it's shooting wide, like all the way zoomed out. You're not going to have like that, because that's what makes that stuff look like quality, is whenever you get your subject in focus and your background a little bit out of focus. But a camcorder is not going to deliver that zoomed out wide. Just like if I'm running a 16 millimeter lens on my cameras at home, they're still not going to blur anything out unless that person's taking up the whole camera. You know what I mean? So it just depends on, it all just depends on what you're going for and what the final result needs to look like.
Yeah.
And like a camcorder could do that, like make it look like that, but it might have to be at the very back of the room, zoomed all the way in.
Yeah. I don't think I want mine blurred out in the back.
And so you might not, and that's just the thing. So,
because part of the podcast is some of the stuff that's on the podcast. I feel like it's part of the feel.
Yeah. So I guess podcasts, you would just, then past there, you're just going for quality and how much you can control the image to stay consistent.
Yeah. That's my big thing
So it would just be finding a good camera, like a good quality camera that has manual settings, that has a good array of manual settings, because the second you leave your camera on auto is when it starts doing weird things. Because if you have it on manual for the whole podcast, that means nothing's changing at all. And when you go to like change a color or something, it's changing it across the whole clip, the whole hour, 2 hour clip, as opposed to what if your camera adjusted settings on you automatically halfway through, then the color you've provided for the first half doesn't work for the back half. So
you buy everything online, cameras wise?
Yeah. I don't buy anything from stores or anything like that. Because
where we're located, there's no really good.
No, and I know that I've never even been to a camera store. I don't even know what that looks like. I'm sure there's some in St. Louis or something.
I Googled one because I was to the point where I'm like, I'm just going to go talk to someone.
I know, does B&H have stores? B&H Photo is like one of the biggest online sites, and I think they have like a ship to store. I guess they have stores in St. Louis.
I don't know. I don't remember. I just Googled a camera store near me. That's how, Will West, somebody actually recommended.
I guess I need to look for a camera store and see what that even looks like. Like I said, I just do everything online. I just order it online.
Well, I mean,
take my chances on eBay, you know.
You get the best deal. Oh, clearly you get the best deals.
Yeah, I do.
Clearly you found some killer deals. But when you start out, you got to do that.
Oh, yeah. Like my A7S III, when I buy that, I'll probably buy that new now that we're farther in and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like whenever I upgrade that camera, because like if, like $1,200 camera, I was like, I'll take the chance on this, that it's like going to come in the quality that they're saying it will. Cause like I said, there a lot of research went into each one too. Like, you know, just talking to the people, and some of them two of those cameras I talked down in price too. I was like, dude, but I'm going to buy it right now if you'd like sell it to me for $1,200 instead of $1,500. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and like literally pay it right now. And he's like, okay. And that's how I got most of them.
Sure.
But like the A7 S3, I'll buy that brand new. It's $4,000. I'd rather just know the camera is like 100%, because
that's hard to take a chance on there.
Yeah.
Sure, man. Well, I don't know how long you think we're in this right now.
I wore a broken watch just for the looks.
Wow.
So I did.
You gotta be out of here by 3, right?
Yeah. My kiddo gets off the bus at 3:40.
Well, we're an hour and a half in. Do you have anything you want to discuss before we get off here?
Not really. I've been hitting that fitness parlor.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I love seeing you guys in there. You and your wife.
Yeah. When my back's not garbage, I come in as much as I can.
Do you go to a chiropractor for that?
I do. And I was out of the gym for a few weeks there because after a barely covered show, I started getting sore and I had something near my tailbone twisted. And my chiropractor, after like 4 visits, we got it back in. And now I'm back to the gym and strengthening it back up again. And it seems like if I stay at the gym, it does fine. My back problems were all the way through my 20s. I had terrible back problems. And a few years ago, I might not seem like a lot, but I weighed 200 pounds. I'm 6'3", so that doesn't seem like a lot, but for my frame, 200 pounds is a lot. So since then, I've lost 50 pounds. So I'm back down to like 150.
Holy cow, dude.
Yeah, that's diabetes. Yeah. No, that's no joke. Whenever I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I just cut sugar and stuff, and over the period of I cut sodas a year before being diabetic. And then once I turned diabetic, there was no more pasta and stuff like that. Like I just cut all that stuff back.
That's tough.
And I went from 200 down to 150, and my back pain almost went away, just like losing that extra weight. And what really made it go away was just getting active. And so I've been going to the gym and doing my back exercises and stuff, and got to keep my back in shape. I can't have my back going out all the time working that camera. You know what I mean? Like,
and you're a drummer.
Yeah, and
you're flinging. I feel like drumming. You're flinging that.
So drumming feels really, really good for about an hour. Like an hour of drumming, I'll leave the kit feeling good. You know, like. But like the other night at Bogey's, like I posted on Facebook, we broke our record of how many songs we played tonight. We played 63 songs that night, which is.
You guys got to get to 69.
So.
That'd be pretty sexy.
So our set list had 75 on it. And we couldn't make it all the way through. We just ran out of time because our breaks were a little bit. We were also collecting donations for the officers and stuff. So we just kind of ran out of time.
Awesome that you guys did that, by the way.
Yeah, that turned out so good. People really came out, and Paul and the other business, Paul and Kim up there at Miller House.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they really came through and helped throw all that together too. So I think altogether it was like $3,600 we raised that night.
Cool.
Between Miller House and Bogey's.
The whole, like, you guys didn't take a profit from that night.
No. No. And neither did Bad Influence. We convinced Bad Influence to also jump on, and they threw in their earnings from Miller House into the pot too. So.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we got Miller House in on it too. I know Bad Influence had reached out to us and wanted to get in on the weekend. So we just advertised it as like music on Main Street.
You guys raised like $3,500?
3680, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. It turned out really good.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah. It was pretty sick.
It's awesome to see.
But that night was 63 songs. And, man, by the end of it, so I sit on a drum stool like I'm supposed to. I sit with pretty good posture, but still like I'm reaching for cymbals for 4 hours straight. 63 songs, and by the time it was done, like, it's not that my back's out, but God, is it sore, dude. Like I'll stand up and it's time to start packing up, and I go to get a drum off the floor and it's just like stiff as can be.
Yeah.
And it's like a 2-day recovery. And normally it does end up making my back go out just from that, something twists back there. It happens all the time. But this time, man, I was like 2 days of soreness, and I was like, okay, got to get back to the gym like right now. I got back to the gym and started doing my exercise, and I feel like $1 million again. And I'm like,
that's awesome, man.
Thank goodness. So
people sleep on the gym. They act like it's not a big deal.
It is. And like, what's crazy is my chiropractor, he comes to you, Stuart.
Doc Stewart, yep.
Yeah. So, Doc Stewart had me,
Shout out Doc Stewart.
Yeah. Like he's got me now on an elliptical for my back, the standing elliptical. He's like, no more treadmill. He's like, just get on that elliptical and put a little resistance on it. And he's like, because he doesn't want the impact of the treadmill, the feet hitting the ground and stuff. And that's helped me a ton. So yeah, I'll always vouch for the fitness parlor because keeps my back in shape, and I got a bad back. So
please appreciate it, man. Well, everybody's like, I work all day. I get exercise there. It's like, it's totally different.
It is different because Whitney works hard, dude. Like at her job at the vet clinic, lifting those 60-pound dogs all day and holding them down and bending over. And I mean, they're like, it's an intense job for a 10-hour day. You know what I mean? Like they're just on their feet all day. And so you would think she's getting enough exercise, but it's not controlled exercise.
Yeah. You're working the same muscle group. And yeah, a lot of times, like guys that are shoveling or they're building walls or doing whatever. Yeah. You're not taking the time, taking breaks in between like you should, taking proper form like you should. No, it's, hey, we got to get this wall up quick. Let's grab it. Or something's falling. You got to grab it. Or you're shoveling using the same 2 muscles all day long. And sure, you're getting those 2 muscles worked out.
Yeah,
but
I have a drummer muscle. Look at this.
Yeah. Holy cow.
It's freaky looking. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy cow.
That's from this motion.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, it's freaky looking, dude.
It's a big one.
Yeah, that's
I guess that's
literally
still part of the
That's
form,
literally
huh?
from drumming. Yeah. It's just whatever tendon gets activated when your wrists lift up.
Well, you've been drumming for a long time.
Yeah, since I was 16. Started on Rock Band.
That's what got you into it?
Yeah. We actually, it's funny because I was ready to tell this at the Barely Covered interview, and we got off track, and I was the only one who did get to tell my origin story that day. And
really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Casey. I'm glad I brought you on there. Let's hear it.
So I started drumming playing Rock Band at Coach Lay's game nights.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I remember someone had brought it. It had just came out.
Can we tell everyone that's listening might not know what those are?
Yeah.
Coach Lay was a teacher in high school, and he wanted to do something for kids to do on a Friday night other than just go out and get drunk. This is for high school students. And you could go, and he was part of a church. I don't know how he was involved with the church, but he
was like a youth leader or something.
Yes. And so he was able to get the whole basement of a church, and he bought every single console. Like, so there was Xboxes, PlayStations, Wii, there was all kinds of stuff. They had all these,
and people would bring their consoles and bring their TVs. And
it got to the point, wasn't there like 3 rooms with different bands in it? Like there was full setups, drums, there were singers, and people would show up. Yeah, there was a lot of people that showed up.
Yeah.
But he would also get pizza and drinks and all this kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. And Rock Band had just came out, and he was like, got this new sweet game at the church, and he brought it in, and I remember like watching on the screen, because at the time everybody played Guitar Hero. We were all about it. And Rock Band came out, and I remember seeing the drums, and I remember that night I had tried playing them, and I was like, well, I wasn't too bad at that. And so I convinced my mom, which thank the Lord for my mother for buying Rock Band, because now I look back, I think it was like $240 for a full band kit. So we didn't have a lot of money, so kudos to her for giving in to my whining.
Was it a birthday gift, Christmas?
I think I just asked for it. I was just like insistent on it. I was just like
caught
all
it at
the
the right time.
Yeah, and I don't know where the money came from, but like I said, thanks, Mom. But she bought it, and dude, that's all I did. I came home and just played Rock Band all the time. I just got sucked into the drums. And what was cool was, like, Rock Band drums was like the only instrument that actually contributed heavily to the actual thing. And that's because you're still working on limb independence. You're still like, essentially what was coming down the screen on rock.
So you're saying contributed to the actual instrument.
The actual instrument.
Like a guitar, you're not actually.
Yeah, like you might learn rhythm. You know, you're going to learn rhythms and strumming patterns probably, and your fingers will get separated from your strumming hand. There's no doubt about that. But it's nowhere near like Rock Band drums was literally, besides reaching for cymbals, it was all there. Like your different colors always represented a certain drum. So like once I got behind a real drum kit, which I bought my first drum kit from Tyler Ehring for $60. It was a first act kit that he had in his basement.
Wow.
It was junk.
Well, $60, you can't expect much.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I just kept playing Rock Band, and I got so good at it that I was like 5-star in every song, expert and stuff.
Wow.
And it just translated to a kit so easily. And now even when I play drums, this is no joke. Like if I play a drum beat, I can see the Rock Band chart in my head. Like, it translates so well. And when I look at drum sheet music, because I can read sheet music to an extent. I can't read like drum line, like I can't do all that stuff. But if you show me a drum beat of sheet music, I can read it, and my head reads it like Rock Band. I can still see
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, but like I always think that's wild when I tell people that, because they're like, "Well, it's just a video game," and I'm like, "Yeah, but look what it did." Like I'm like,
yeah,
it turned me into a drummer.
See it to this day.
Yeah, I actually collected Rock Band instruments for years. As they came, because they stopped producing them and stuff. So I have an attic full of Rock Band instruments because I still play it to this day.
Really?
I legitimately
just enjoy it.
Yeah, I just love it. I love the guitars. I like the drums. I just love rhythm games and stuff like that. But
dude, you're truly an artist, man.
Thanks.
You really are. Well, it's not even like a compliment. I think that's just like a statement. Like,
yeah,
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, my wife calls it disgusting. So she calls it. Every time we get something at the house, I'm like, and I go into these deep dives too. Like I went on a piano dive here a while back, and like I pick things up really quick especially if I have a place to learn from. Like I pay for lessons through a site called Drumeo and Piano, and they're both part of the same thing, and I can learn anything from there. But like I just absorb that stuff so quickly, and I know a lot of people, like Dan right now, our guitar player, he's super good, and like he gets mad when people are like, "Well, you're just born with it," because like if you knew how much Dan practiced, you'd be aggravated when people told you that too. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes that also, because people tell me that too a lot. They're like, "Well, you were born with that rhythm or something." I'm like, "Well, Rock Band taught me that rhythm. I wasn't born with that. I just found something I loved."
Yeah.
But I do think there's a human element that you're born with too. I think that contributes a little bit, but I always try to not let it discredit the work that people have put in to get to where they're at.
No, it's clear that you put in a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
For it, and that you do, whenever you find something that you like, you're clearly very passionate about it, and you go all in on it.
Oh yeah. I dive in, and like for like piano, I'll be like, I'm going to do this all year long. I'm going to do piano lessons all year. It's like 2 months in, and I get really good, and then I don't touch it for another year. And then next year I'll come back and be like, I'm going to do it again, and I'll take a really deep dive and then come back out.
Do you play it so much you burn yourself out?
Other things come up and start taking priority. And if it's like for me, like right now, obviously drumming's my priority. That's what I play in Barely Covered. So if like I'm all in on piano and the guys are like, "Hey, let's learn a Rush song," like they did a couple months ago or a month ago, I was like, well, that's hard. And so I go to learn this Rush song, and it takes me 8 hours of like kit time. You like learning this thing. And then all of a sudden I'm back into drumming. My head's back in drumming mode and piano's gone, you know? And so like, it just depends on what my priorities are at the time when I come in and out of that stuff.
It's amazing that, I mean, have you ever had any other type of addictions that are on the bad side? Because it is almost an addiction.
I would say, so I don't consider
more of an obsession.
So I would consider my video game playing to be, at times I think it's like an addiction. Oh, it is an addiction. It's like a big dopamine hit. You know, you're playing games and stuff. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's what I love doing. Like I love playing video games. So like, because I get into like a lot of these things, like, you know, influencers, books, that's like, sometimes that's why I don't get into them. Cause like, even like I'll have mentors that are like, well, you're not leveling up because you're not all in. You need to ditch video games for 3 months or ditch video games forever because you don't need them. And I'm like, no, you don't need them. I'm like, I'm happy. Yeah. I'm a happy dude because I have that stuff.
Yeah. And that's what matters most.
And I don't like, it's not like an abusive thing. Like, yeah, I might not go to bed go to bed at a decent time every night because of it. But at the end of the day, that's how I wind down. You know, that's how I have fun. Like it keeps me happy.
It's also how you get really good at what you do. Yeah. Because I think at some point you have to obsess a little bit on something. Like I think you have to go a little crazy on some things.
Yeah.
Because you don't nobody became the best baseball player, the best NFL player, the best at anything unless they went a little crazy overboard on doing it, like obsessing on it and just.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever.
Yeah.
Whoever does it has done it a lot. Like they have perfected it and they have gone crazy over it.
Yeah.
There's some natural talent there. Like there's some people that, yes.
I believe in natural talent. I really do. But I also believe that those people have also I don't know. I never put it up there as an excuse. Like a lot of people will like be like, well, he has a natural talent for that. Or his mom was like that. I'm like, yeah, his mom or dad might've been like that, but he also must've had a passion for it if he's that freaking good at it.
Yeah. LeBron James, he wasn't just good at basketball. Not only was he good at basketball, I think he was naturally probably really good at basketball, had some characteristics to him that helped him out. Height being one of them, but he definitely put in some hard work.
And I'm guessing there's also people out there that could put in hard work and not achieve the same. So I guess there's some kind of natural talent there, because I don't know.
Well, YouTube's a good example. I mean, there's some people that grind and grind and grind and never make it to the top.
It's true.
I feel like, and maybe it was because they weren't actually putting in the work. Maybe they're acting like they were putting in the work, but weren't. Just.
Yeah.
Because like there's some days when I put out some content that I'm like, maybe I should have spent a little more time on that one.
Yeah.
But there's if you're trying to, I try to put out daily content. That's the grind I'm trying to get to right now. And whenever I start to do it, if I'm not outsourcing it, I can't do it.
Were you watching PewDiePie when I walked in?
What was I watching when you, probably PewDiePie.
Dude, I watch him go through Reddit posts all the time.
Oh, I
love that content.
He's so funny. If you haven't watched it, there's a game he played called Trap Adventure 2.
Okay, I'll go watch it.
It is hilarious. He's got 3 segments on it. The first video, it's hilarious. It's an old video. He probably played it 4 years ago.
Okay.
I'm not even going to spoil it.
I'll watch it. I'll ask you for the
2D cell phone game, actually. You can play it on your cell phone. I'm sure you can download it on your cell phone and play it yourself. But it's hilarious. He's a hilarious dude. He's been great for a long time. You watch him often?
It's just if I'm on YouTube and I see his face pop up, I'm like, that's probably gonna be funny.
He moved to Japan, right?
Yeah. I followed some of that stuff.
Have you watched any of his vlogs from Japan?
Some, of him like walking around town and stuff, and I've seen some of it, and he talks about like things they're doing to their house and stuff like that now, and like, dude, where he's at, that's like what a cool spot to be at in your career, where you can just like open up your personal Reddit and look through the stupid posts people have made and laugh at them, and that's your content, and then you got your dude on the other end that's editing it. Who's like, I don't know, those dudes are so cool to me because, like, what's his editor's name? Scythe or something?
Scythe.
Yeah. Scythe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like they have a relationship there too. And like you watch for that relationship as well. Yeah. And I don't know, those content creators are so good.
It's so fun now that I have an editor. Shout out Sam. I like when I'm doing a video and I'm like, hey, Sam.
Is it Sam Lowe?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not Sam. It's Sam Lindbergh, actually.
Sam Lindbergh.
Yeah. She's an Owensville photographer.
Oh, is that Sammy K?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know her last name. Okay.
Oh, okay. You never met her before?
I've met her, but like I don't know. I follow SKH.
Gotcha.
Like religiously on Facebook. Like her, God, that shoot the other day in the fog with the maternity shoot. I don't know if you saw that. It was like the tree, the fog, and the morning frost and stuff. And,
I know the post, but
dude, I'm like, it's like when someone posts a picture like that. I saw that. I called Whitney. I was like, Whitney. I was like, Sam just did it. I was like, that post is gonna blow up. Mm-hmm. And that's just to show you too that like sometimes the content is king, man. Like that content, like as soon as she posted, I was like, first of all, good on her. That photo is freaking amazing.
She's made some really good stuff.
Lately she's been off the hook, dude. Like her stuff's been so good.
Well, even dude, are you on TikTok?
No, we're a TikTok free home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're against it?
Yeah. So that's from military, Whitney's military standpoint. The military is very against TikTok, and like people were worried about that Chinese balloon going over. Like I mean, like TikTok's owned by China. Like, yeah, you're like literally that balloon's picking up like a quarter of what your TikTok's doing on you every 5 minutes. Like, so that whole thing was funny to me.
I don't even give a damn.
That's what I'm saying. I just
need
don't
some
care.
more followers anyway. Get some more eyes on me.
And see, I just respect Whitney's views on it. I don't I think I don't care either way about like the information gathering and stuff. But yeah, we just don't do TikTok, which actually works out because I spend way too much time on there when I have it.
Sure.
So, and
it can be addicting.
yeah, no, it definitely can. Especially, yeah. And I have a hard time stepping away from shorts. I think everyone does. Like you just get scrolling. Like I'll just be there for 30 minutes and you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Cause they're just like, they pull you in.
And then the second day, 4 days in a row of doing it, you know, so much in a day, and I'm seeing the same videos and I'm still scrolling through them. And I'm like, I've seen that, you know, and like, so, but what is she been posting stuff on TikTok or something?
Yeah, and some stuff she has blown up. Dude, she's a hustler. She really is a hustler.
She is. She for sure is. And
like whenever I looked for an editor, and she reached out to me, it's like, you know, I get people.
Did you say, do you have time for that?
I didn't say that because I don't. But that's what most people would think. And like thinking about it, it's like, well, she does work full time. She's doing this stuff full time, and then she's like, yeah, I could squeeze this in, Ryan. And I respect that because that's who I am.
Oh yeah.
Like I wish I could do more podcasts a week. I wish I could make more content every day. Like let's fill it all in. Let's do as much as possible. I enjoy it. And I think she does too. And I think it's funny because she's going to be editing this. She's going to have to listen to all this.
Oh yeah. Hi, Sam. I've learned your last name is Lindbergh.
Yeah, she'll be all right. She'll be all right. She might be a little mad at you though.
I see. And I thought it was Hafner. Is that her? Was that her maiden name?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where I was lost at then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's kind of understandable. But yeah, she does kill it. She does good. She works hard. And when you're working hard, you want someone that works hard too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's cool that she makes some time. And Sam, I appreciate you because
I think she even referred me a couple wedding clients here recently. So shout out to Sam.
Damn, look at her. MVP. Yeah. Sam, you're the MVP.
We've got our network around here of preferred vendors and stuff. So.
Well, I reached out to you guys at one time because I had an idea. I'm like, what if I bought a building and I put all these content creators, like videographers, photographers, just content creators, people like Sam Lowe that has a marketing company. Yeah. You put them all in one building and then you're just throwing ideas off each other all day. Where maybe you guys have your own private spaces, but you guys are all in the same building where it's just radiating energy.
Yeah, and I honestly think that's a good idea. I don't know that, like, financially, I'm, like, I think that's what I told you. Financially, I don't think I'm at that part.
I'm not either,
I'm at that point where a space would make sense for me. But I love the idea, too, because, like, it is so important to surround yourself with others with the same motivation and, you know, with the same end goals and stuff like that. Yeah. That's huge.
It's too cheap of rent when you're using your own personal space.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And you got a basement and you can just do whatever you want in it and make offices in your house. And
exactly.
You're already paying for it, do everything else because you're living there.
Yep. Editing right out of my living room. You know?
Yeah. And that's what people do at the beginning. Yeah. Which it's how you got to start out. I want to get to a point where I have a building one day. Like I want to build a whole podcast studio and have like have a whole setup in it with a gym in it. And have like activities that you can come and do and have a whole experience of it.
Yeah, I just need a bigger house so I can because I have a music room in my half attic, and being 6'3", hit my head all the time. Every time I stand up, those slanted roofs get me. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God, I need a bigger house. And not only that, a studio room and a work room. That's what I want. So, but that's 2 more bedrooms I have to have in a home. Like,
you almost need to separate it from your house too.
Yeah.
For the noise.
I agree. And like right now we're not soundproofed or anything. Like my studio has nice microphones. I mean, we don't have any soundproofing up yet. So we're just like up there. I start playing drums and it's just like
your wife is a saint.
Oh, she's the best, dude. She's the best.
What does she do? She put some headphones?
She just turns that TV up to about 80, man. Like if we pause, I can hear that TV downstairs. Sounds like an IMAX theater. It's like loud. But like right now, she like even this week, she's like, Casey, you got to get the guys over to practice for the pop show. Like you guys need to practice a couple times next week. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you got it, babe. Yeah. You got it.
Sounds like your manager.
Yeah, no, and like yeah, she's unbelievably supportive of music, of the filming stuff. Yeah, I couldn't be any luckier. I'm like I was joked that I won the lottery. It's ridiculous over my end. So
I agree. I see her at all you guys' show. She's a rock star.
She's the bomb. Yeah. Yeah. She is a rock star. And God, the other night though, I could have killed her. It was, we were on song number 60.
I was going to end it on a
Ryan, I gotta say, we were on song number 63, and dude, so halfway through the show, I had like a little bit of a diabetic attack, and I was just like, through the microphone, we're halfway through one of these little monster sets, and I was like, guys, drummer needs some sugar. And so Colin Fromm came through and had some jelly beans or something. So Colin Fromm got me some jelly beans. So I'm like playing drums and chewing on jelly beans to get my sugars back up. And so by the end of the night, I am just beat, dude. Like 63 songs. I'm like, my muscles hurt. I'm just sore. And Whitney's signature move is at the end of the night, you always hear her go, one more song. And these people are drunk around her. So if they hear one person say that, the place is going off.
Yeah.
So, and Bogey's was still really full. So I'm like already starting to unscrew my cymbals. As soon as we finish the song, I'm like, okay, time to break this down so I have an excuse. And I hear Whitney's voice, one more song. And I was like, no, man. And so, so we played it again. But I told her afterwards, I was like, did you have to do it this time?
That's her way of getting payback for always you practicing in the house.
That's it. Yeah. But
payback.
Yeah, normally I'm very thankful. I wasn't as thankful the other night. And I had to apologize the next day. I was like, I'm sorry. I got upset about the one more song thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah.
All right. Wrap this up.
Yep. Let's do it.
Thank you so much for coming on, Casey.
I appreciate it.
If you guys are still listening, make sure you guys like, subscribe, share with your friends. Go give Casey some love. Erhart Productions. If you guys got a wedding in the future, hit him up. He'll help you guys out.
Let's have a talk. Don't be scared to call me. I love you.
Peace.
See ya.